yet, but I forgot it. So, I'm Christy Blanche. I will be your moderator for this hour. We will be taking some questions. There are microphones set up there. Set up there. So think about awesome things to talk to this guy about. And so let's just bring out Mr. Mike Colter. Good news. So you have 2 degrees in acting. That's a commitment.
Yeah,
so,
I do.
When did you know that?
More than 2 degrees. No. I have an undergrad and a master's, but yeah, the undergrad is we're just figuring things out in undergrad. You know, undergrad is, guys. It's not. We're not sure what we're doing in undergrad, right? Yeah. So
still a degree.
It's a degree, though. It is a degree. I paid for it.
Right? Still paying.
I may still be paying for it. I'm not sure.
So when did you know that I'm going to make this happen? That's it.
I don't think I ever knew that until I actually started working in the business. You know, I think when you're young, you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of focus, and you have a lot of determination. And then the older you get, you get beaten down, you get a little more jaded, life hits you in the face, bills come, and you start doubting yourself. Even if you made progress, you take account of where you are, and you start feeling like, I don't know if this is possible sometimes. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I told a lot of people this specifically. I think I talked about it in some articles here and there. But I think when I was 32, 33, I was getting ready to just call it quits. Not because I hadn't worked or wasn't working. I just wasn't doing the things I wanted to do, and I wasn't working in the way I wanted to work, and I wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted to get. So I kind of was like, I held myself in a certain regard, and I said, look, if I'm not going to do it this way, I think, as far as where I'm concerned, I feel like I should probably look for something else to do. Passion or not, I was like, I'm getting older, and I don't want to wait tables the rest of my life. It wasn't about, pride or anything like that, but I just wanted to have a consistent lifestyle, and working intermittently in the business sometimes becomes frustrating. So what I was doing was, I was working in a restaurant, and I was working as an actor, and I couldn't quit the restaurant, but I was I'm from a blue-collar family, so I'm used to working. So I know friends, I gotta tell you, there's a lot of friends, I'm sure there's people in this audience, who they were just happily be on unemployment. I got friends who they were actors, and they just, when they weren't working, they would sign up on unemployment. There's nothing wrong with that. But I never did it. I just couldn't do it because it was like, well, I can work. I could find a job. It wasn't necessarily the job I wanted, but it was a job. So I didn't have to sit around and wait for a check to come in. And although I had already contributed to the unemployment, I should have been happily taking it because I'd already given them money for years. But something about me, I was like, no, I'm just going to go to work, even if I didn't want to. And then years went by, and I was working more, and I would just keep the restaurant job as a backup because psychologically, I felt like, hey, if I need to, I'll go back. Which is why, when that Jeffrey Owens thing came out, everybody probably heard about that with the guy, this actor who used to be on the Cosby Show, and he was in Trader Joe's. I love that story because it was an honest day's work. He was working to do something, to put food on the table. He wasn't begging anybody for money. He wasn't asking for a handout. And for, whoever the people were, it wasn't the woman who took the picture because she had no intention of actually trying to change him. She just was wanting to, take a picture of it, because that's what people do sometimes, And then I think Fox News took it into turn and ran it somewhere else. But ultimately, that is ultimately what America's about. That's what all of us are about. And actors sometimes are separated from guys who are going to do the 9-to-5 job because they think, well, you're an actor. You're making so much money, you live this way and we live this way. And, I get that's what it seems like, but what people don't realize is most of the actors are people who started out in the same position you started out. Not a lot of actors were born into wealth. We kind of found our way into a nice, decent living, but we worked our way up. We were sacrificing a lot. We were working 3 or 4 jobs, grinding it out. Some people are homeless sometimes. People, they sacrifice a lot. People always want to go, well, what does it take to achieve your dreams? Well, for actors and artists, a lot of times there's no money in it for so long. You're literally starving. You're literally like just trying to make ends meet. And not everybody wants to do that. I don't want to be homeless. I didn't want to be living out of my car. So I never had to do that. But I'm just saying that when you're an actor, you never know what you're going to have to do. So I always appreciate that story of Jeffrey Owens because it's like, hey, I'm working. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm going to continue to work and I'm going to put food on the table. And if I get another acting job, great. But if not, I'm going to still go work because I need to. So I love that. I love that about him. I love that about our profession. We are artists, but we are also our laborers, and we have done that before too.
You have some successful people around you. You've got Viola Davis, your cousin, your brother. He's pretty cool. He's a Secret Service agent. And your wife, which is pretty cool, is a PhD, which, woo!
Yeah,
school.
More school. She has 1 PhD, 2 masters, and I think
lots of degrees.
Yeah.
So does having the successful people around you help push you to?
I always, I guess product of your environment can be one thing. I think, my parents didn't go to college. My mom went to high school, graduated, got a diploma. My dad only went to 6th grade because his dad passed away, and so he was the oldest, and he had to stop. And back in those days, it was like you needed someone to sort of take care of the family. He was the oldest son, and he had 2 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters, so it was up to him to sort of go out and start working. So even though that was the case for them, luckily they knew that education still was the right direction for the kids because we would eventually become successful or at least have some sort of chance as we went to college, and even though they did not. So we all went to college and got a degree of some sort, and then, it's just one of those things they instill in your education. You got to figure a way out to sort of like have a set of skills or something you can offer, otherwise you're going to be lost. So I think it's more of a hard work determination. Even now, like my wife, her parents are from Eastern Europe or Central Europe, and same kind of mentality over there. Just work. Like they almost work. It's almost like the Jamaican mentality. Like they work. I mean, like they work for nothing, and it's like a pride thing. It's not just about doing the job. It's about doing it right. It's about if you need something extra, they'll do it. They want to make sure you're pleased. A lot of people don't have that pride now. It's like they can barely do any work. You show up to work, they got a frown on their face. They don't want to be there. You're paying them, but they don't feel like their life it's not worth it for them. So there's a certain energy that they give you. Well, with them, they're happy to be there, but they also want to make sure you're pleased as the person who's paying them because they have that sense of pride. And it's almost a curse because they'll grind it out and spend extra hours doing what most people wouldn't do. They want to go home. They're like, no, I'm going to finish this task. And that's something that I think people have to sort of feel internally to make sure they're good at whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? Even if you're cooking a hamburger, make sure the burger's cooked properly, right? Don't give anybody a raw hamburger, right? Is that what I'm saying?
Okay, so I'm an educator, so I have to get that education.
Oh, education, there you go. Teach you, I walk right into that education.
So, you were in this show, some of you may have heard of it, Luke Cage.
Oh, Luke Cage, yeah.
Were you a fan of comics before you auditioned?
I did not read Luke Cage before I auditioned for Luke Cage. I'd heard of the character, but at that point I'd only known, X-Men, Superman, Spider-Man, Hulk, Batman, characters like that. It was between DC and Marvel. I had, Aquaman, obviously, all of, those characters, but I did not know about Luke Cage because, I don't think every comic book store carried that. I mean, I'm from South Carolina, didn't have one in my small hometown, so all the comics I got came from other people from bigger places, and they just didn't bring those to me, so I never got a chance to read it.
I'll talk about it. I have a comic shop too.
Oh, wow.
That's bad. So, did you read them after you got the part?
I did read some. I found the aliens to be very useful. I found some of the older ones that the earlier comics, more the black exploitation comics, it was not as useful because we were trying to change them and take them in a different direction. We had a large following built up already. We needed to sort of take them in a direction that was more current, that would be more applicable to the times that we were in. Back then, coming out of the 1960s, the 70s, you had a time and era in America where, you know, it's like Black Cod, you know, there was this, you know, righteous feeling and, you know, the Black Fist, you know, and there was the Black Panthers going on, there was this movement, and there was this energy that was there, and so it reflected the time, you know, Shaft came out, and this sort of, you know, came off the heels of that. So for Luke Cage, I think we needed something a little more, you know, reflective, a little more, how should I say this, guy needs to be a bit more thoughtful, you know, he needed to be more of an educator because ultimately, or educational because he read books, he contemplated things, he was, you know, he could use brute force, but it wasn't his first thing he wanted to use because ultimately that necessarily was a big problem. So that thoughtfulness of the character was more important to us to have him, you know, be of that because the time we're in right now, everybody needs to be a little more thoughtful before they start doing things because actually, sometimes you start stuff, it's too late to like, oh, you can't undo it. That's my mom would say, it's too late. My mom would say, uh-oh. When you say uh-oh, it's too late. That's what my mom would say.
So what was the audition process like for Luke?
It wasn't as strenuous as I think a lot of the other processes were. The hardest part of the audition process was that I'd already had a job, luckily, and I was gainfully employed on another show, and we had started, got picked up for a series pickup, and we were starting to film. And the minute I got the news, this opportunity sort of came along. So the biggest thing about Luke Cage is that once I got this opportunity, it kind of felt like it was more of an illusion that I played the character. It was just more about trying to get free from each other contract to then get an opportunity to play it. So it would have been easier if I didn't have a job. And so basically relying on the showrunner, Blake Heron, who was the showrunner of the show that I was on, him and Army, another producer, who they basically helped me, you know, to get out of the contract at TNT. Because it was a tough thing, you know, you go to your show and say, listen, I really appreciate everything you've done for me, but I have another job I would love to pursue. And you know, that's not something that people usually take well. But to his credit, he was very, very supportive, and I still, you know, appreciate it to this day. You know?
So you worked a lot with Kristen, and you did some chemistry tests. So what was that whole process?
It was very, you know, very straightforward. You know, I've had some chemistry reads with a lot of different people over the years, and you know, a lot of times, sometimes those chemistry reads are like, I don't know, I'm not even sure what we're doing in that room. It's like, you know, sort of like, it's like they don't tell you like what the scene has as written. It says you do this, you do that, and you just met this person. You don't even know, you know, you barely know their names. It's just like, you know, you come in, you play the scene. It can be very awkward. I find that in chemistry reads, you have to just sort of, you do the scene, and you have to rely on the fact that the producer's going to have to see the chemistry because sometimes, you know, everybody's not going to just start kissing somebody they just never met. You know, it doesn't work that way. And nor should it, you know, because listen, you're auditioning, you may not get a job. You know, I got an audition with like 4 or 5 girls, like, yeah, you just can't keep doing that. You know, they're like, hey, how are you? All right, and action. No, it's awkward and it's unsanitary, probably. So we didn't do any of that for that chemistry. It was very straightforward. We had to take a chance on seeing whether it would work on the day, is what we call it in the business. We say on the day when it's like, we use that term when we're in a film. It's like, we could be sitting here talking about a scene that we're going to shoot, and we're literally going to shoot it in like 3 minutes. But we go on the day. That's how we start the conversation, on the day when you do this. And that just means when you actually film it. So you have to just assume that on the day it's going to work, you know, and it did.
So I may have watched season 2, episode 1, when you were training and showing off your powers on loop. Mm-hmm. Anybody else do that?
Episode 1, season 2.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It's early, folks. I'm doing a red eye. Remind me.
It's when you're doing your long jump and the top.
Oh, yes. Was that one? Was that one? No. Was that one? That was season 1. That wasn't 1. I'm not crazy. Am I crazy? It was 2. It's all right.
It's all right. So, how much? I mean, what was your routine to get into shape to play?
You know, at this point, it's just basically, trying to eat right, trying to work out a little bit. You're playing a character over years and years. It's not like a movie. You just get in shape and start, popping pills and, sticking needles and stuff. You get jacked and you're just like, all right, I'm good. You do the movie and you stop. You do TV. It's like you have to figure out what's going to work for you on a long-term basis because I got other projects I'm trying to do in between. And I'm not trying to get locked into the point where if I walk in the room, it's like, well, he's got to be, he's got to play the big guy because he's just, you know what I mean? Like, I've gained some weight from when before I started playing with Cage, so I haven't carried that weight with me, but I'm not trying to, be the biggest guy every time I walk in the room. So I try to moderate. At this point, my workout routine consists of when I can afford to get in the gym, like when do I have time, I fly to events, I come back and I literally was filming in LA or something else. So I didn't work out yesterday, I worked out the day before, and then the day before that. So I'm pretty much on a 2-day-a-week regimen, and that can be at any point in the week whenever I have time, because I got a 3-year-old daughter, I got a lot of stuff going on, so I'm trying to use my time wisely. So when we start filming again, I'll hit the gym a little harder.
So let's kind of switch off of Luke Cage because you've done so much other stuff. You're talking about different roles, but you did motion capture in Halo for the video game, which is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the whole motion capture experience?
Oh man, motion capture is fun. I mean, you basically just walk around with like a leotard on, and dots on your face and your whole body, and they put the cameras all over your head and stuff. You pretty much do the same thing over and over all day long and wait for them to say stop, and then you do it again. And then it's one of the, I can tell you, it's one of the cushier jobs you can get in this business because there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, listen, if you're working indoors in a climate controlled environment, that in itself is heavy. Because a lot of times, we film, nobody knows how cold it is, when we're filming or how late it is. Almost nothing good happens after 3 o'clock, 3 in the morning, and we're filming like 3 to 6 sometimes in the morning waiting for the sun to come up. I mean, we're filming, I think episode 1 where Lucy Lou was directing that. There was this explosion, a truck explosion. We started filming that whole thing around midnight, that whole scene. They blew the truck up around midnight. And so by the time we got to sunrise, we were racing, the sun was coming up, we're trying to get the scene. It's just so much that goes on, it takes so much time, you don't realize how much time it takes to shoot something. You go, if you sat on set, you would go, what is going on? Like, this is insane. Like, it seems like nothing's happening for hours, and then all of a sudden, everyone's in a hurry. It's a very strange situation. Anytime I'm shooting indoors, it's a very good day for me.
So, do you prefer doing more TV roles, like Bishop when you played that, or
Good Wife, yeah.
Like Big Willie Little?
Yeah, Good Wife was a great experience. I love doing television. I just like doing good projects. I always say to myself, like, I want to do a few things. I think one thing is I want to have be in a film that's in every festival. And at one point, I want to see all the festivals. And I also want to diversify. I always want to be in different genres and to just be exposed to different audiences. So like my hiatus, I've had a year off now. So I did this movie called Skin that was in Toronto with Jamie Bell, and it's an interesting film. It's a big ensemble cast, a bunch of great people, Bill Camp, Vera Farmiga, Daniel McDonald. It's a wonderful cast. So we did that in Toronto, and it already got picked up and sold. And then I did this other movie called Breakthrough, which is a sort of a spiritually based film, spiritual awakening kind of film for people who are religious and or people who are not actually, because there's a lot of doubt in the film. So I did a film about that, and then I did another interesting film called Stupid Happy, which is sort of a quirky comedy that shot in New York with a bunch of different people who were all kind of messed up, but they're not really fixing themselves. They're just kind of going with it, and that's it. You have issues. You should be in therapy, but you're not. And so you just continue to live your life, and everybody around you has to just deal with it. Maybe they need to be in therapy too, but they're not. So it's all good. So that's kind of cool. And working on something now called what is it called? Fatale. Reuniting me with Hilary Swank. I haven't worked with her since $1 Million Baby, so that's good. So it's good, doing different things, and hopefully I'll get one more film before I start like Cage. Should be nice.
That's awesome. We're going to take questions if you guys want to start lining up. Okay, I'm going to ask one more while that's going on. Men in Black 3. I read that your wig that you wore cost $6,000.
Yeah, about that.
What is that like?
You know what? It's fun getting wigs when you don't have hair. It's nice to get lace wigs. And honestly, I wear them in life. It wasn't for the glue edges because I gotta maintain my edges, and I don't know how to do that. Like, can you imagine me trying to just do that every time I walk outside? Like, oh yeah, I'm going to the club. Let me get these edges. It's great, but I remember the guy. I have a big head, right? I have a big head. So when the guy was measuring me for the wig, he was doing the thing, whatever. He's done a lot of wigs, and there's a lot of big heads in the business. Not that many. It's like a handful. I call myself the president of the BHC, the Big Head Club. So anytime someone says they have a big head, I go, oh yeah, really? And then we start this conversation, and I just let them hold my hat. I compare heads. Well, when he measured my head, he was doing the whole thing. He was like, his response was, "Ooh, child." Just that says it all right there.
Okay, let's take her first. Tell us who you are first.
Hi, Mike. It's Andrew Powers, and I have two questions. Firstly,
You only get one.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Give me your best one first. Let's see.
Great. First question is, I was very interested in where they left Luke this past season. So I'm wondering, how do you feel about the direction they're taking? With him taking over after Cottonmouth and Mariah kind of becoming King of Harlem. How do you feel about that? And
it is a great direction, I think. I think now we get to see how hard it is to have power and to be able to do things in a very, you're trying to control something from the outside is very difficult. I mean, it's just, we're trying new things. And I think I got frustrated with being the Boy Scout, or what I call Chocolate Boy Scout, or something like that. I'm a Chocolate Boy Scout. He gets frustrated with that because you can't get anywhere with that kind of, approach when you're dealing with bad guys. So I think he's going to try something else. So let's see what happens. But I'm interested in seeing where it goes. I'm very interested in seeing the kind of clothing he's going to get a chance to wear because I'm tired of wearing these. I'm ready to move on to suits again. When I got the job, I was doing Good Wife for a long time, and I was like, oh God, I love wearing suits. And Bishop was wearing nice suits, Canale suits, and this and that. And I'm going, these are nice suits. Wear suspenders. I'm like, this is great. But I was also getting tired. I was like, I'm just tired of being restricted. The suit is really nice, but I can't really get loose in it. Then I was like, oh, this is a superhero. He doesn't wear a costume? Great. He wears jeans. Awesome. T-shirt. Awesome. I'm over it. I'm tired. I want to put a suit on. Put a suit on. Let's just try a suit again.
And we spend a fortune in suits with all the bullet holes.
We got to work on that. I was talking to somebody in the line, getting a boy Melvin from Daredevil to come over and help me out with some of that. Get him and Dapper Dan to start talking about things and threads. You know what I mean?
Question two is, you were basically the first person to play Luke Cage. So my thought being is, how does it feel that you get to kind of set the bar for that role in the future?
Well, it's really low, so. Anyone want to take a piece of it? I don't know, it's kidding, but honestly, I think anytime you go do a character, you can always, have a different reincarnation of it. For me, Christopher Reeve will always be Superman, and that's, he'll always be my Superman. So, I know everyone has, you youngins in here, you millennials, Henry Cavill, which is fine, but, I grew up with Christopher Reeve, so for me, that's who it is, Superman anyway. But yeah, and then what I love about his career, so he has a great projects outside of that, but he started that character, and so that's who it is for me.
Well, you'll always be my Power Man, Mike.
Thank you, man. Don't lie. When the medal comes out, I don't see the Comic Cons getting signatures. Some other super Power Man. All right. What's your name?
Andrew.
Okay. What's your last name? All right. Watching you.
Thank you so much, Mike.
All right.
Hi.
Hey, my name's Aaron Schaefer. Quick question. Thanks for doing Luke Cage, you're awesome. We all know that. Do you have any pull to get Defenders 2 made? Because I bet a lot of us would love to see that again.
You know what?
I didn't think that it would be good, but I was like, this is awesome.
That clap is not enough for Defenders 2.
Hi, my name is Alex, and Luke Cage, amazing. Best Luke Cage ever, always.
Thank you, man.
But I have a very important question.
Uh-oh.
Who is a better kisser, Kristen Ritter or Rosario Dawson?
I'm not touching that.
The answer is your wife.
Who do you think it is?
It's your wife.
Oh, my wife. That's my answer. saved. Once again.
I always ask those questions and they always say that. Gotta go home.
Hey, Mike, my name's Brent.
First, I'm a little on record, sorry, man. I'm a Daredevil, man. So I'm glad.
Okay, well, next, moving on.
What I was gonna say is that for the whole Netflix series, man, you guys killed it. I just finished season 2 days ago, man. I loved it. I can't get enough of you guys. Everyone that was acting in it, just beautiful, man. And my question is, since I am a Daredevil fan, there's a comic book out there called Daredevil Cage Match. Can you please pitch that to them so I can get a Daredevil Cage Match?
What's the concept? Daredevil and Luke Cage?
What the concept is that they team up for a little bit, they're talking, and then finally they're going back and forth to who's better. You know, Daredevil's like, yeah, I'm bulletproof. Well, no, I've got super hearing and
What's superhero gonna do for him? That's what
he's got his agility and everything like that, so they're going back and forth.
Oh boy, here we go. Come on, guys. We all know what happened.
You all have a little bit of a problem. You did get Tarek into the ring, so Tarek, messes with the fight a little bit, because y'all just get in the ring to have a little competition, but Tarek kind of messes
No.
messes with the competition.
Is this like a wrestling match where I fake and fix? Is it choreographed?
No, it's a box. It's more or less like a boxing match.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. Not gonna be good for him. Not gonna end up good for him.
Thank you.
There's a reason they haven't made that one yet.
Hi, my name is Doug. Do you have a favorite moment working with Bushmaster in season 2?
Oh yeah, man, we had great times. I think I really liked it. I think it was the episode after Iron Fist visited. We had a team up, great fight scene. I think it was the next episode. Bushmaster and I went to the factory and was fighting all the Asian henchmen. And it was fun. It was like Wu-Tang Clan was playing. That was fun. We shot that. I think 1 day or 2 days, I can't remember, because it takes a long time to shoot stunt sequences. I want to say we shot it 1 day, but the thing about that scene was that normally we have a couple days or at least a few days where we get a chance to see the choreography done by our stunt doubles, and then we can then look at it, and then we can go in and then rehearse the moves and get it done for ourselves, so it's not completely new on the day, because then on the day sometimes, as they say on the day, the director comes in and says, hey, I want to change this part. And it's all like muscle memory, so it's like a choreographed dance. So once it's in your body, it's hard to like just, in the moment, just undo it, and then remember to do this instead of that, kick here instead of punch here, and duck here. So we didn't have any of that going into that scene. We literally came on the day, and all the Asian stunt guys that were there, they had already fought with our stunt doubles. So they knew all the stunt moves, right? They put me and Mustafa in there, and we do nothing. And then they show it to us, and then we go, okay. They show it to us again, and we go, okay. And then they go, all right, let's try it. And they go, action. Well, the Asian stunt guys are like fighting at level 10, because they're like, know everything. They're like, ah! Literally running at us like full speed, and we're just like reacting, but our muscles, we're like, it's not in our mode just. So sometimes we're like punching when you should be kicking, and it's chaos. And so we tell them, okay, dial it down, just go back at not full speed, like 75%. But then the adrenaline starts flowing again, and they're going faster. So it was a mess for about an hour or two, just trying to get them to slow down because we're trying to learn. They're just going full speed. It was fun though. I mean, we had a great time. Eventually, we shot it all. Had a great time, but it was weird because I had never stepped on a set before, not knowing the choreography for a stunt sequence that was that big. With like 20 guys involved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Phil Henry. I'm from Northville, Maryland, and Glory Verse Podcast. One relationship in the series in this particular season that really resonated with me was the one that Luke had with his father. And I think it was one that really propelled the story forward a lot and revealed a lot of layers to it. Can you tell me what it was like working with Mr. Cathy?
Yeah,
Rest in peace.
Reg, rest in peace, man. Reg is great. I wish we got a chance to spend more time together. It was like discovering a friend that you didn't get a chance to really hang out with. Because a lot of times in our business, You know, I think, I talk to my wife and family about it sometimes, you know, you spend more time on set with somebody sometimes you spend with your own family if you were shooting a series. You know, I'm in New York. Times, maybe longer, and you know, a lot of times we get to know each other. You know, it's not like we're in an office with cubicles and our doors are closed. We're sitting in a chair like this, and sometimes we're waiting for the setup, and we may have throughout the day a few hours collectively to talk about things. You know, between going to our restrooms and working on material, we just have time to communicate. You know, maybe we eat lunch together, who knows. So I got to know Reg a little bit, a lot of things, a lot of people that he knew that I knew. I was a big fan of his before, and you know, him coming in. It was great, you know, he got diagnosed while we were filming. You know, I watched him go from, you know, being completely healthy to, you know, being very sick. And he was such a positive force. He never really gave into it. He never mentally said that he was, you know, it never seemed like that he had come to terms with this thing. Because in the sense that he had given over and said, hey, I'm probably gonna not make it. It never dawned on him. And, I don't know how he did it. Coming on set, physically being completely worn out, but at the same time, giving 100%. You know, we did our best to shoot him out and get him home as much as possible so he could take care of himself. But he was going through it, and I watched it happen from the second episode to like, you know, to the end where he was written out, and then having him pass away probably 2-3 months after we wrapped. So it was tough, you know, just knowing that. You know, that this guy, when I was watching that I may not see him again, you know, like I literally, and I think it had such an effect on me that I don't think I took a picture with him. You know, sometimes when I said, I wasn't on social media at the time, and I wasn't a picture taking kind of person, but, you know, sometimes I took pictures, you know, or the still photographer would take pictures. I think I had a few pictures, but I never took my phone out and said, hey, let's take a photo, because a part of me felt like part of me felt like I did not want to get a photo of him, because I felt like if I did, then maybe this wouldn't be the last photo. Like if I don't know, something weird, and I didn't want to, and I never took a photo with him personally with my own phone, and this was one of those weird things, but he was a great guy, man, and you know, he's going to be missed, you know, because we would definitely have him back next season, so, and I think it was the last thing he worked on, so he was just a great guy, great human being, great positive energy, great artist, and yeah, they don't make him like him. He's a great guy. So,
could his presence be felt in season 3 somehow?
It may. There's always a way to do things, and as you see at the end of the last episode, his voice was there in the last sequence of going, you know, talking about what he had told Luke before and what to watch out for, and even the last frame, you know, you hear his voice and brings it to black. We open the season with his voice. We close the season with his voice.
You reminded me about that too.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Khalil from Project Maryland, and my...
Julio?
Khalil.
Khalil.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Julio, man. I was getting excited. Julio. Khalil's good too, though.
Thank you. My question for you is that do you feel that Luke is now like kind of stepped a bit more towards the dark side? Like now that Mariah's gone, Shades is out of the way, and he owns the nightclub now, that he's the king of Harlem, you know, basically pushed Claire away and all that.
Do I feel like what? I'm sorry, the question.
Do you feel like he's like stepped towards like more like a darker side?
You know, we got to see. I think the dark side is like anytime you learn organized crime or doing organized crime. I guess you know you could say it's dark side, right? But let's be honest. You know, everybody knows we. You know, I'm definitely not getting political here, just, you know, we're on a tangent. But, you know, our government is like the mafia. It's like a mob, right? It's like that organized crime, in a sense. I mean, when you have to do something you don't want to do because they say so, or the repercussions, then that's kind of what organized crime is. Organized is the organization part of it. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, I'm paying a meter, and I'm like, I pay taxes. That part of the street that I'm parking my car on, I thought I paid for that already. You know, so I got to pay for it again. And if I don't pay for it, you're gonna come put a ticket in my car, and if I don't pay for that, you're gonna take my car from me that I'm paying for. It's a little bit, you know, it's a little bit of a, you know, shakedown a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a lot of that. So when things are organized, or they're not organized on a larger scale, the larger scale looks at you and goes, you are competition. You know, that was the whole thing with the mafia. The mafia was doing their own thing, and the biggest part about it is they weren't paying taxes, and they were policing themselves. everybody was doing it, you know, the Godfather, the Dons, and all stuff. It was a form of government, and they had taken that from the old country, the Italian country, and brought it over here. So the problem with it was that the government was saying, wait a minute, you're cutting in on what we do. We have policemen. You pay taxes to us. You don't pay taxes to yourselves amongst yourselves. This is weird. This is weird. That's our money, but not really. You know what I mean? So I look at it like that. I'm always looking at the bigger, you know, picture, trying to understand the character. So even when I was playing like Lamont Bishop in Good Wife, people always say, you know, well, you're like a drug dealer. I'm like, not really. I mean, he's diversified. He's got a lot of businesses, right? Drug money is only a small portion of it. And in a sense, you know, he's like his drugs are drugs that, you know, think about the pharmaceutical companies. I mean, they're worse than he is. And pharmaceutical companies, oh my God, that stuff will kill you. I mean, that stuff is even worse. I mean, you get it and you pay so much money for it. If you don't need it, once they get you hooked on it, if you need it, your insurance doesn't cover it anymore. What do you do? I mean, there's so many, you know, there's so many layers to the system and the corruption. I always say, you know, we always look at the people that they tell us to look at. We don't look at the people who are pointing the finger. You know, it's like everybody has their explanation of what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I'm not justifying drug dealers at all. I'm not justifying organized crime. But I'm saying that these labels that we give things are just so we can put them in boxes so we can understand people. We need to be able to look at them and go, this is what you are. And ultimately, we all are part of the same hypocrisy, so we have to just look at ourselves. Like every time you say, like, that person over there smoking a joint, we just took a couple pills that, you know, that was like, what else pills you just put in your mouth? You know, like, you know, everybody's easy to calm down a bit. So let's see what Luke is going to do. Let's see how he's going to run things.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. In Harlem.
Your question or your name first?
My name's Courtney. I was wondering if you could pick any actor or actress to work with either on Luke Cage or a future project, who would you pick?
Any actor or actress to work on Luke Cage?
Or a future project.
A future project. That's a lot. There's a lot of people there. Oh man. Well, you know, I got this thing coming up. I'm trying to get it going, or it's something that's brewing, and you know, and I know when I'm talking about projects in the future that I haven't started working on and all sorts of stuff, but there's. Well, no, I'm not going to do it now. Now I'm going to jinx it. Okay, so I'm not going to say that girl's name. I was going to say something. I was going to say no. Don't do that. You always jinx stuff. There's so many actresses and actors that I really like, and so I don't know, Harvey Bardem or something like that. You know, like why not him? You know, his wife is Penelope Cruz. I like her. I like Selma Hayek. I like working with Halle Berry. I love to work with. Who else? Chadwick Boseman. I'd like to work with lots of other people I can work with. I mean, dozens and dozens of people I've worked with again. You know, Josh Brolin. I'd like to work with him again. You know, it'd be great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Quincy Jackson. No relation to anyone famous.
Oh, no, he's throwing you on the set. This guy's.
I love your work, your inspiration to the outfit.
Thanks, man.
I do have one question that's most important that's on my mind, and that would be: is there a future for Luke Cage in the MCU?
You know, it's just contractually. There's always a possibility. I mean, as long as if they keep making them, they're gonna have to use me at some point. They keep making them, you know.
It's nice to see a movie.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, they keep on making. They're gonna run out of ideas and kill off some people. I don't know. Too many people are gonna be dead. They're gonna have to use me, or they're gonna run out of ideas. One or the other. But hopefully, by the time I'll still be able to play them, because you know, I got a few years left on these D's and back. You know, we'll see. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. It's my life watch, actually. I was so cool before yesterday. I always told somebody, if you had a choice, if you had a choice, you could have a device, because it's coming, I'll be morbid. But then there'll be one day you're going to have a watch where you can put it on, it's going to basically give you rough estimate of your lifespan, you know, like a rough estimate, you know, like every time you look at it, some days it'll be longer, some days it depends on what you ate that day, how long you slept, you know, how much you drank, you know, how much drugs you did. Like, it's not like you wake up going, whoa, this is a lot less than it was yesterday. And then you clean your act up for like a week, and then it grows, like, oh, hey, I got a couple more months, you know, it's like, but imagine that on your wrist. It's coming, guys, it's coming. All right.
You wake up and it's like yesterday.
You wake up and it's like, oh my God. 2 hours to live.
Side note, since you mentioned it, I don't remember the name, but there's actually an anime
That's anime?
An anime, a Japanese cartoon.
Oh, wow.
That we'll watch. It's something very
They're
similar.
always ahead of us, aren't they? Oh, those Japanese people are always ahead of us in every way. I love Japan. I really love Tokyo. It's great.
My name is William McDonald. I'm actually from here, Baltimore City, or well, in the county.
I'm in Baltimore City.
I love Luke Cage. I fanboyed a little bit when I saw the trailer on Netflix years ago. Two small questions. One on Halo, actually. Did you ever get to work with Nathan Fillion? I actually ended up liking your character a lot more than his. And I've been a long time fan of Nathan Fillion. And the second question, relevant to Luke Cage, the suit you wore at the end of the second season, did you get to keep it?
You know what? That suit is still there. It was made by Michael Andrews, this bespoke tailor who has a place in New York City on the near what town is that? It's just above Houston. It's not Soho. It's a strange. Oh God, I know your band very well. Anyway, it's off of Bowery. It's between Bowery. It's on Bond, a street called Bond Street. But he made that suit. He made another suit I wore at a premiere for the Defenders, and he made Kingpin suits. They use them a lot. He tailors our suits, he builds them from scratch. Great suit designer. The suit is still there. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get the suit. But we want to make sure that it might not be, I don't know what we're going to pick up for season 3. If we pick up with that suit, is he going to have the suit on or not? I don't know. But I'm getting the suit. Now, what am I going to do with it when I get it? I don't know, because I can't walk around with it on. You know, it's going to be very weird cosplaying myself, you know.
You're at the right place to cosplay yourself.
What's that?
You're at the right place to cosplay
I got the right
yourself.
place, right? I walk right past people who wouldn't even know it's me. It's like, oh, that's a good, hey, look at me. Well, that's good, man, that's good.
Walking the dog. Yes.
Walking the dog,
There was a Comic-Con a couple years ago. Hugh Jackman actually played himself as Wolverine at the Comic-Con. Nobody knew it was him.
That's it, exactly. Walk right past people. It was like, oh, that's a good one, that's good. Thanks, man.
That guy doesn't look anything like that.
His name is like, wait, look at his way bigger.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Thank you for playing Luke Cage. Love you on the show. Very important question. Who's your favorite Disney princess?
What's that?
Your favorite Disney princess? I need to know.
I can't hear, sorry.
Your favorite Disney princess?
Oh, Disney princess. Oh, my daughter has the doll. I don't, because I took her to Disneyland a couple times now. Moana, right? Moana's Disney, right?
Oh.
She loves Moana, but she also likes this other one that's, and I can't remember, but it's a black princess, and she's from
The other one.
Huh? Tiana, yeah. So we went to Disneyland, and we saw the girl play Tiana. I mean, we followed her around. She's broken the accent and stuff. So she has that doll now. When I saw her in full form, in live action, I saw her and I go, she looks familiar, because I couldn't figure out where I knew her. My daughter was like, 3 years old. She's like, yes, Tiana. Tiana, who's that? Because I knew she had it at home. I bought it for her, but I didn't know who it was. I knew I bought it. I just bought her a doll. I didn't realize that there was actually, there was a world and stuff like that. So it was great. I was like, oh, yes, you're Tiana. So she was like, how are you? She was like talking to me. It was fun. She loves Disneyland. Loves it. So my favorite princess is probably Moana, because I just like Hawaii. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Mike, so first I want to say thanks for coming out to Baltimore. We appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
My name is Jossie. I'm a senior at the University of Maryland College Park. And my question is, Colter. My question is, seeing a black superhero on the screen, especially one that we're not getting made fun of and it's just us, is something that until very recently was unprecedented. Now we're kind of Black Renaissance. We have Black Panther, Black Lightning, Luke Cage. But my question is, how have you felt the cultural impact on Luke Cage is having? You were one of the first, not the first. Can you speak on that a little bit? Any examples you've seen, and how does it feel to be part of it?
Okay, I heard the first part. The last part of the question was...
how does it feel to be a part of the Black Renaissance and representation after years and years?
It felt great, I remember people talking about it, and I didn't really get caught up in it because it was like, well, it's a role. I'm going to approach like the other roles, and And then I got to think about the pressure of what people expect, because no matter what, you're never going to please everybody. We were going to have a different kind of character than a lot of people were going to expect. Some people were going to want a more boisterous, loud, jive character, more up in your face, braggadocious, just someone who had a bit more cocky. I think we saw a little bit of that in the second season at the top before we got smacked by Bushmaster. I wanted to do something that made sense for the time we're in. So I felt really good about having a chance to sort of create this character. I did not forget, people were like, oh, this is the first black superhero. When I grew up, there was Blade, there's other characters, that already existed. Not a lot, but I didn't want to skip over that, because it's generational. I think every 20 years, people have a memory wipe, where it's like nothing happened. For 20 years later, someone will be like, Luke Cage, like just wipe the memory completely. And when I was growing up, I always told people, like, my favorite character was Bruce Lee. Like Bruce Lee, on the playground, anytime a fight broke out, I stepped back, and I would, what? I did it every time, then I would just do the little footwork thing, and then I would just, start doing the little nose thing, flipping the nose a bit, and it was always like, you pretend to get cut, and of course, you taste the blood, you spit it out, it's like, I couldn't help myself. So for me, that was a superhero for me, and it didn't matter that this guy was Asian, and at the time, he probably was the same size, and I was probably 12. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It was the fact that he seemed like nobody could beat him. It just seemed like he was just gonna, no matter who you told me Bruce Lee was gonna fight, I think Bruce Lee would win. It didn't matter. I didn't care what Superman or I think Bruce Lee's gonna win. I just think he's gonna find that it's like he's just gonna find a way to depth touch. He's gonna do something. So it's really what inspires you. So people were inspired by having a likeness of themselves or someone that they can relate to because of the demographic, and that was good. But I would say it's never a black exclusive show; it's an inclusive show. So it's always great when I see white boys come up and go, "I love your show." Little white boys, they go crying, "Oh my God!" It's fine because they're not. I think I posted something on Instagram which I just started 6 months ago, and I'm trying to use it for positive things. I posted something yesterday, it's like, kids don't know anything about racism until you teach each other. They're like completely okay with everybody until they get home. And then you start talking to them and then tell them stupid stuff. The next thing you know, they're like, oh, my mom or daddy, don't do that to the kids. Don't do that to the kids. The world is a great place if you stop putting your stupidity and ignorance into their head. We have lived a life that has sort of conditioned us to it, but let's not do that to our kids, So that's what I'm trying to be about.
Hey, Mike, huge fan since day one, man.
Thanks, man.
I was curious, you pick a lot of specific projects, with huge fan bases, like a Halo series, Luke Cage, a lot of series related to stuff like Luke Cage and all that. I wanted to know what attracted you to that project. Is it because of you being like a fan yourself, or any friends or family being a fan of it that will, that makes you spend like extra blue points or anything like that?
Which project? Luke Cage?
Just any other projects that you usually give, you pick a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think there's always some thought behind project selection. There's always opportunity. There's always timing. There's always financial gain. Sometimes that helps. It depends on But in every way, there's always like a decision you make. So for me, for instance, the Halo project that I did, I was trying to find some action genre to get into. I was like, I'd been doing acting a little while. I was like, okay, I don't have any action stuff in my belt. I'm going, well, everybody's doing action. I should probably get into it at this point before I get too old to do it. Let's start now. And the Halo project came up, and it was an opportunity to try and get into that. And I didn't have any preconceived notions about how it would turn out. I think there was a lot of people trying to, between Microsoft and the Scott-free people who were producing it, there was a lot of, back and forth about what the series would be, because you had these adamant video fans who knew the video game. But then you're trying to make an action line series about it, and I was pitched it was supposed to be a movie, and it was like, they chopped them into a series of 5 parts. So a lot of stuff went in different directions in that project, but what I got out of it was the ability to go show people like, hey, we can do some action, this could be cool. And then literally, probably within months, then this Luke Cage thing came along. So when you're choosing something, you gotta have a reason you're doing it. And you know, sometimes now it's like I'm looking for stuff that's not action now because I'm like, well, I've done that, so let's do this. Oh, let's do some comedy. Oh, let's try to do romantic comedy. Oh, let's see if we can do something that's like really independent film. Let's do something that's more of a studio release. What's that?
Diversity and range.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Because ultimately, I just want to keep working, keep acting. I just want to do different things. So I don't always want to do, you know, action genre. But hey, I will gladly sign up as a superhero. They got one for me. I'll do that too.
Yeah. Keep it going where alone you do, man.
Thanks, man.
Hello, my name is Linda. Glad that you're here today. And I had a couple of questions. My first question is, what's the plan for season 3? And secondly, what is your goal of season 3?
I think our plan in season 3, Colter Colter is our showrunner. He's writing season 3 as we speak. I think the plan for season 3 is to explore Luke's his ability to sort of govern and be fair. I think we're gonna, you know, and we talked about being a new sheriff of town, a new king in Harlem. We're gonna see how he deals with his power, because we all know power, or absolute power, can corrupt absolutely. And sometimes when you don't have anyone checking you, someone to put you in place, someone to basically say you can't do that, we sometimes get out of control. We see it everywhere. Anytime someone doesn't get into a space where there's no one telling them what to do, they have to go on their own sort of, you know, moral compass, and it's a very difficult place to be. So everyone thinks they know how to like do everything until they basically get all the power, and then it's just up to them. That's why we have a democracy, because we get everyone to sort of pitch in and talk about ideas, because we all live in society. Now, Luke is in Harlem, and so Harlem is going to be his place, and he's going to have to sort of control. And I think he's decided to use, again, organized crime in a very, very sort of not practical way. I think he thinks he can be a part of it, but not be in it. I think he thinks he can control it, but not get his hands dirty. We're going to find out. I think by the end of season 3, what we want to do is set Luke Cage up so we can go forward for another series, or maybe do some other things and spin off. I mean, but ultimately, we want to complete at least one story arc and then see where it happens after that. War in the streets of New York. What's that? That's also different anyways.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lars. So I really enjoyed season 2. It was fantastic. However, when you look at some of the elements that happen in season 2, specifically with like the Jamaicans and the patois they were speaking, or the Jamaican accents there wasn't, for me and a lot of other people out there wasn't a whole lot of authenticity to it. So I have like a 2-part question where, one, how did you feel about that in terms of like, you know, there are plenty of, I assume that there are plenty of actual Jamaicans out there who have stronger accents in the right way that could potentially be there. And then a follow-up on that would be like, how do you feel about representation today on the biggest of screens, especially with like the way Marvel and DC are going right now? Like, they're trying to move towards representation, but they're making a lot of gas along the way. Like, how do you feel about that?
You know, I think anytime someone, you know, sets up a representation of something, it's problematic, because I don't think we're ever going to satisfy everyone. Because I mean, I was talking to someone, you know, you have people who are born and have Asian ethnicity mixed with Caucasian. Is anybody representing that one? I don't know. I mean, they do have, you know, they have so many different diverse, you know, backgrounds that we're always trying to figure out. When I see someone who looks different than I want to know what their heritage is. Not because I'm looking to try to put them in a box, because I'm interested in who they are as an individual. What makes them them, you know, what makes them unique. So it's always a question of curiosity, so I can find out more about them in a very natural, very sort of organic way. I'm never looking to sort of go, what are you, because I need to figure out like where I can put you in a box. It's not that. I'm always looking for, trying to find out, because it tells me a lot about you usually. And if you have no connection to your roots, that's fine too, because you may be from someplace and not speak the language, which that tells me a lot. You know, I'm black, right? I say black, I don't know this African American stuff. I use it because it makes no sense to me. It's a long phrase, African American. You know, I've never been to Africa yet. I'm going. Gonna happen someday. People think I'm Senegalese when I travel. You know, they speak Wolof or French to me, but I don't speak either. So it's fine. You know, some people might think I'm from Ghana or maybe Zimbabwe. I don't know. It's a lot of places I could be from. But to me, it's just like we're all a human race, right? So representation that we're looking for is sort of becoming, you know, passe. I think my goal or what I was going to see, like, I don't know how many years it's going to take, but for everybody almost to look not the same, but to be hard to tell anything, because it's like a sea of creed. Creed. It's just like a beige, hue that blankets the room. Everybody's got a little black in it, a little Asian, a little this, a little that. Because then we stop talking about where we're from, you know, or trying to, you know, hierarchy and stuff like that. The going to the accent and stuff like that. I know people who there were some people who had Jamaican heritage who were talking about the show and ask about certain characters and not be sure whether they were from Jamaica or not because they thought they did a really good job. I've been to Jamaica. I know there are other people who completely hated the accent. And I'm sorry that, you know, that's the case, but like I'm from the South, right? There are a lot of shows that you guys watch that are shot in the South that have British actors doing Southern accents. They don't sound right to me, but I still watch the show, and I'm sure some of you watch the show because it's like, oh well, you know where they're supposed to be from, and the show's good, the narrative is good. You're watching to see where the story goes. That first episode or two, you're like, damn, that accent is really, that is not hitting my ear right. Oh, I really hate it. 3-4 episodes into it, you're going, hey, it's so bad. And then after that, you're going, whatever. You know, it's just one of those things. I can name a couple actors right now that you guys love, and they're doing British accents in America. They don't sound good at all, but people love those shows. So my thing is when the narrative is strong, you're not always going to get authenticity because we're actors, we're chameleons, you're supposed to try and do different things. And it's very difficult to master a dialect like a Jamaican accent because it's so specific. It's been around for so long, there's so many nuances to it. But what we want to do is try to bring you the world and give you the idea of where we are. And to be honest, there's so few Jamaicans, trust me, there's not a lot of people who are offended. Because you know, when you think about the large quantity of people that watch the show, there's not a lot of people who know what Jamaican accents are supposed to sound like. So we don't want to offend the Jamaican ancestors and people who are of that ancestors who know what authentic patois sounds like. But at the same time, we also can't always find Jamaican actors who are qualified to play those roles. Just because you're Jamaican and you have the accent doesn't mean you're a good actor. Doesn't mean you can play that role. Doesn't mean you look like a role. Like Mustafa, you know, he's about my side. You know, there's a lot of things that work for the casting of that. So we could, you know, actors are, you know, it's not that many actors in this country that are working. And there's a lot of Jamaican actors who want to work, and a lot of Jamaican actors who thought they're qualified, and that's their opinion. We can't always cast actually where they're from. We can, but it's a lot more that goes into it, unfortunately, than just the authenticity of it. So again, definitely don't want to offend any Jamaicans who thought those accents were not quite right, but I think in this room, any Jamaicans in this room? I mean, 1, 2, 3, he's gonna miss 2. We definitely don't want to lose you guys, but we want to try to bring the most interesting narrative that we can to the screen. And I think hopefully next season when we come back and we have any more stories from Jamaica, we're going to go to Jamaica and we're going to cast people in Jamaica. So hold on, don't desert us yet. We still got you, we hear you. All right?
Thank you. Thank you. And on that note, we're out of time. Mike will be at his booth.
I'll be in my booth, catch you there.
Autographs, you can ask your question later. And let's give him a great big